so much for clicking to watch this video. You are the MVP. So my name is Helen, and today I'm gonna be giving you a step-by-step guide on how to create a custom VPC in AWS with high availability and security. So if you know that you want to understand clearly, how to create a VPC in AWS that will give you high availability and security, stick to the end of this video. And please, if you're yet to subscribe, kindly subscribe to the channel. Also click on the notification bell, that way you get notifications each time I publish a new video. Okay, and I've actually got a lot to share with you guys, and as well I have a lot in this channel you can as well explore. All right, if you're ready, I'm actually ready. Let's get started. This is what the architecture looks like. A virtual private cloud, which is VPC in AWS, is a virtual network that allows you to provision and isolate cloud resources within your own logically isolated section of the AWS cloud. Okay, it is just a virtual network in AWS. I'm pretty sure you have a network, that is why you're able to watch this video. But we're talking about a virtual network in AWS that can allow you to isolate your cloud resources. Okay, so it allows you to have control over your network configurations, including IP address ranges, subnets, routables, and network gateways. Okay, so you can actually define your own network topology, allowing you to create subnets, set up public and private network, and also control your inbound and outbound network traffic. All right, so this is my architecture, and this is the VPC over here. So this space is for the VPC, and the VPC CIDR block we'll be using is 10.0.0.0/16. And once we create our custom VPC, we'll now go ahead to configure other VPC components. Okay, so we'll create an internet gateway after VPC and attach it to our VPC. All right, so how can internet gateway help us? Internet gateway is created to enable communication between the VPC and the internet. Okay, so we'll create it and attach it to the VPC. Once that is attached, we'll create two public subnets within this VPC. As you can see, I have these two public subnets within this VPC, and each of these subnets will be in different availability zone. Okay, so public subnet AZ1 will be in US East 1A, public subnet AZ2 will be in US East 1B, and they will have their IPv4 CIDR block. All right, so and once this is done, we'll create two private subnets as well, and this private subnets will also be in different availability zones. This one will be in US is 1A, this will be in US is 1B, with their respective IPv4 CIDR block. Once that is done, we'll now go ahead to create our routables. We'll be having a main routable because that will be created the cost of creating our custom VPC. So the main routable will actually give it a route. We'll give it a route. We'll attach internet gateway to it. All right. So that will actually be our public routable. So once we attach this internet gateway, all right, as the route, it will be our public route table. All right, because of the internet gateway, the resources we have in this public subnet will be accessible over the internet. So as for this private subnet AZ1 and private subnet AZ2, we'll actually create a private route table for them. All right, so we'll create a private route table, and the routes will be attaching it is the NAT gateway. All right, so this allow instances in the private subnet to access the internet through the NAT gateway. Once we attach this route, we'll now do the associating it with the private subnet AZ1 and private subnet AZ2, allowing our instances to access the internet through the NAT gateway. This is basically for for security. Okay, So just note that NAT gateway is used if it is actually used when you want to allow instances within the private subnet to access the internet while maintaining a secure and while maintaining a secure network environment basically. All right, so this is what the architecture looks like, and right now we can actually go over to AWS Management Console and let's get started in creating our custom VPC and the components. So this is my AWS Management Console. To get to VPC, just type VPC here and click on VPC. Okay, so this is VPC dashboard, and I'm gonna click on this VPC here. All right, so over here I have a default VPC. So in your region, whatever region you're using, you will see a default VPC here available. All right, I'm using North Virginia region. All right, US is one, so I have a custom VPC. So sorry, I have a default VPC. So if I go over to Subnet, I have default subnet. So this region actually have sys availability zones, and that is why we have sys subnet over here. So depending on the region you're using, it will have default subnet depending on the number of availability zone. So each of these subnets are actually you know that in their respective availability zones, right? So each of them belong to, like, the last subnet I have here is in US is 1A, this one 1C, 1E, so that in different availability zones. So but we want to create our custom VPC, subnet, routetable, internet gateway, NAT gateway, and all those stuff. All right. So coming to routetable, I just want to show you around. We also have a default route table. Internet gateway, we have a default internet gateway. All right, so let's go ahead to creating our custom VPC and the component. I'm gonna click on create VPC. So VPC, under VPC settings, this VPC only is fine. Just gonna name it custom, or my custom VPC, and the IPv4 side that we'll be using here is 10.0.0.0/16 according to our architecture. And that is all I need to do here. I'll go ahead and click create VPC, and this VPC has been created. So right in this page, I want to enable DNS hostname resolution for this VPC. So it will basically allow instances within this VPC to have DNS host names assigned. So I'll click on actions and I'm gonna select edit VPC settings. If I scroll down, this is enable DNS host name. So I'll save it. Great. So now that this is done, let's go over to the internet gateway. So this is internet gateway here. I'll click on it. So let's create an internet gateway. So remember, an internet gateway will enable communication between the VPC and the internet. So click on create internet gateway, my internet gateway. That is it. I'll go ahead and click on create internet gateway. Awesome. Now that internet gateway has been created, we are to attach it to our VPC. So over here you can see attach to a VPC. I'll click on it, and now we'll select the custom VPC we've created and click on attach internet gateway. Great. So let's go over to creating our subnet. So this is subnet over here. I'm gonna click on it. Right. So, in order to make this, in order to filter the subnets, like I need to, over here, let me select the custom VPC which we created. All right. I don't have anything here as a subnet. So now let's go ahead and create our subnet. So first of all, we'll be creating two public subnets in different availability zone. Let me select the custom VPC we've created, and coming down here, the first subnet is the first public subnet, and I'm gonna name it public subnet is one. The availability zone is US is 1A. Okay, and the IPv4 CIDR block is 10.0.0.0 does 10.0.0.0/24. Right, so that is the first public subnet. Right, and now let's add the second public subnet. So I'll click on add new subnet, and I will name this public subnet az2, and the availability zone is US is 1B. The IPv4 CIDR is 10.0.1.0/24. Alright, and that is done. So now let's create the two private subnets. So I'll click on add new subnet. The first private subnet will be private subnet az1. The availability zone will be US East 1A, and the IPv4 CIDR block is 10.0.2.0/24. Alright, now let's add the last private subnet. Click on add new subnet here, and this one will be private subnet az2. The IPv4 CIDR is 10.0.3.0/24. Awesome. Let's review what we've done. The first, we selected our custom VPC here, and the first subnet is public subnet az1 in US is 1A. IPv4 CIDR is this, and that is fine. Public subnet az2 is in US is 1B, and the CIDR block is fine. Private subnet az1 is in US is 1A, and the IPv4 CIDR is fine. Private subnet az2 is in US is 1. Okay, sorry, we didn't select the availability zone. So this one is US is 1B. Right. So you can see the importance of reviewing what you've done before creating. So the IPv4 CIDR is fine. So let's go ahead and create our subnets. Now that our subnets are ready, you can see our subnets are ready created. So now let's go ahead and auto assign IP address for public subnet. So I have two public subnet here. I want to assign, or I want to enable auto assign IP address. Why do I need to enable this? I need to enable it so that it can allow instances launched in this subnet to automatically receive IP address from the VPC IP address range. All right, without that they can't receive IP address automatically from the VPC IP address range. So the first public subnet here, I'm gonna select it, and I'm gonna go over to actions, edit subnet settings, and I'll enable auto assign public IPv4 address, and I'll save it. I'll go ahead and do that for the second public subnet. Okay, go to actions, edit subnet settings, and I'll enable this. Save. I didn't click on it. Okay, I didn't actually select it. Okay, so I'll save it, and that is it. Okay, so that is it for a subnet. Now let's go over to route tables. I'll click on route tables here. Like I showed you, we have a default route table. So this is actually called the main route table. Okay, so this is the main route table, and this was actually created when we created our custom VPC. Let me just delete this one. So basically we have to we met a default route table basically, but when we created a custom VPC, another route table was added for us. Okay, so this is the one that was added, and it is actually called the main route table. So by default, this main route table doesn't have access to the internet. It is private by default. All right, but basically I want us to um assign an internet gateway to it. So we've created our internet gateway, so I want us to attach the internet gateway to it, so it can be accessible, it can have access to the internet. So let's add a route to this route table. So basically this will be our public route table. All right, but before we can make it public, we need to attach a route to it. So let's attach internet gateway to it. So I just selected it, and I'm gonna click on route here. If I scroll down, you can see it has this destination as this VPC side. Target is local, status is active. So let's add a route, internet gateway route to it. So click on this edit route over here, and the route here, add route. So once you click on add route, click on this empty box and select this first one, 0.0.0.0/0, which is from anywhere. And under this one, under target, click here and you will see internet gateway. Once you click on internet gateway, the internet gateway you created will show here. Just select it, and that is all we need to do. I'll click on save changes. All right, so now this is done. Now let's associate the two public subnets. Now this is public. Okay, so this route table is now the main route table has turned to a public route table. So we need to associate the public subnet, those two public subnets we've created. We now need to associate it here. All right, so click on subnet associations, click on, so once you click on subnet association, you will see that we actually have the first subnet we created. Okay, so they're actually here. So if you don't explicitly assign or associate your subnet, you will see the subnets here. So all the subnets are here, but let's go ahead and actually associate the two public subnets we want, and you see what this place will now look like. So click on edit subnets association, and here we'll be selecting the public subnet AZ1 and public subnet AZ2, and go ahead and save it, save associations. All right, so let's go to subnet association now and see what it looks like. You can see we've explicitly assigned subnets here, and these two public subnets are now showing here. The one that we didn't associate explicitly are the private subnets, which are here. All right, now I want us to create a private route table where we'll be giving a route and then associating this private subnet to. All right, so click on this route table to go back, so we can see the option to create new route table. So click on create route table. Here I'll name this private route table. We select the VPC, custom VPC, and you click create route table. All right, so this route table has been created, and under this route tab, if I scroll down, you see that it doesn't really have a route. So the route we'll be attaching to this is NAT gateway according to our architecture. So we'll create a NAT gateway right now. A NAT gateway will allow instances in the private subnet to, you know, to have access to the internet, to access the internet basically, while preventing the incoming connection from the internet. So in order to allow our instances to have access to the, or to access the internet, okay, in a secured way, we need to create in a NAT gateway and then add a route. So let's go ahead and create a NAT gateway. I'll click on NAT. This is NAT gateway over here. I'll click on it. I'm gonna click on create NAT gateway. I'll name this NAT gateway. All right. So please note, whenever you're creating a NAT gateway, it should be created in the public subnet. Okay. So let's select public subnet as a one. Some people do get confused here. Yes, we use NAT gateway to, in order to allow our instances in private subnet to access the internet. But when creating it, we need to create the NAT gateway itself in a public subnet. So I'm selecting public subnet as a one, and to over here under elastic IP allocation ID, we need to attach elastic IP to it. And elastic IP is a static IP. In order to we don't want to have a dynamic IP here, so want our IP to persist. So all I need to do is to click on allocate elastic IP, and that will be allocated to us. You can see has been allocated. So just scroll down here and click on create NAT gateway. NAT gateway has been created. Okay, so let's go back to our route table. Click on route table and select this private route table. So we need to give it a route. So click on route tab here, and you can see edit route. So click on edit route, click on add route, and select this one. And over on the targets, we have to now select NAT gateway. Remember, for the main route table we selected internet gateway, but this one, the route we want to follow is NAT gateway, just to allow our instances in private subnet to have access to the internet in a secured manner. Yeah, so I'll select this NAT gateway and click on save changes. Now the route has been added. So under this route, if I scroll down, you can now see the NAT gateway has been added as the route. Now we need to click on subnet associations in order to now associate the two private subnet to this private route table. Associate it now explicitly. You will see these two subnets here, or you see them appear here. So I'll click on edit subnet association, and here select private subnet AZ1 and private subnet AZ2. Click on save associations. So once you save it, confirm. So click on subnet association, and you will now see that we've explicitly associated the private subnets. All right, so let's go over to click on routables, and let's confirm what we've done. For this main routable, you can see I have under routes. So just to confirm what we've done under routes, I have internet gateway as my route, and we associated two public subnets. Okay, so these subnets are public subnets basically. All right, so they're accessible from the internet, and they can be used for resources that require public connectivity. So let me select the private route table. Just showed you we attached a NAT gateway to it, and the subnet association. Under subnet associations, we have two private subnet. Okay, so that is basically what we need to do here, and we've successfully, configured our custom VPC in AWS. So what right now you can actually go ahead and start creating your instance depending on what you want to use this custom VPC. But if it's just for practice, that is fine. So I just want to quickly show you. Say you want to create your EC2 instance. So how I want to show you how you can actually select this custom VPC. So when you go to EC2 instance over here, click on launch instance. So let me quickly show you. So I won't be selecting anything. I just want to rush down to where you can actually, so under this network settings, I want to click on edit, and over here VPC, you can now select the custom VPC which you've created. And because we have subnet, you can now select any subnet you want to create this EC2 instance in. Okay, so yeah, and you can go ahead to configure other configurations in EC2. I have videos where we've demonstrated how to create EC2 instance. So we've successfully created our custom VPC in AWS. So with this networking solution, with its use of multiple subnets across different availability zones, enables high availability for your resources. In the event of availability zone failure, resources in other availability zones continue to operate. Okay, helping you to minimize downtime and providing fault tolerance. Additionally, the separation of public and private subnets along with the NAT gateway configuration ensures secure internet access for private instances while protecting them from different exposure to the internet. Okay, so thank you for watching this video to the end. I really appreciate you. You are the MVP. This is actually the channel to be, alright, because I've actually released a lot of DevOps and cloud videos, so you may want to explore this channel. And I also implore you to, I'll encourage you to stick to the channel by subscribing, like this video please. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up by liking it, comment if you have questions, and I would also like to see you subscribing and clicking on notification bell so you get notifications each time I publish a new video. Feel free to share my videos with your friend. I'll really appreciate that. Thank you, and I'm gonna see you in my next video. Bye.